So this is probably going to be more of a supplemental upload than like a standard one. I actually plan on releasing another video before or after this also today. But this is something that actually kind of hit me last night. I was thinking a little bit about it, so I wanted to make a fairly informal video talking about it, and that's like the end of Fallout 4, or really how Fallout 4 is just about reaching the end of its life cycle. So obviously I make a lot of Fallout 4 content. I spend a lot of hours in the game, even though I don't actually have the highest playtime out of everyone out there. I'm sure there's even other YouTubers with much higher playtime than me, whether it be researching mods, editing videos of Fallout 4 footage, things like that. That has consumed a lot of my life over the past 2 to 3 years. And for many of you watching my channel, and those of you who actually watch my channel regularly, you probably fall into a similar boat. You probably consume a lot of Fallout 4 content, maybe download mods as they come out, maybe even create your own mods. But now we are only about 40 days away from Bethesda's E3 conference, and it kind of hit me like, wait, I'm probably not going to come back to Fallout 4. I mean, yes, there'll be the occasional, oh, why don't I fire up that game again? But Fallout 4 was a very different Fallout. It was a very different Bethesda game when you compare it to some of the Elder Scrolls games, things like Skyrim, Morrowind, but especially when you compare it to something like New Vegas or Fallout 3. Yes, I know New Vegas wasn't Bethesda's game. Or really, more explicitly, the comparison of Fallout 3 to Fallout New Vegas. Both are very old games. When you actually play a modern AAA game, including Fallout 4 or Skyrim, and then go back to New Vegas or 3, you notice the engine is very different. It's a very jarring experience during the first few hours because there's certain things you became accustomed to that you almost expect from that game, certain standards that have been established on some of these more modern games on the more modern engine. Despite that, Fallout New Vegas gets significantly higher player counts than Fallout 3 even today. But to put some empirical data behind these claims, if we actually look at the Steam charts for these two games, we can see that Fallout New Vegas combined with Fallout New Vegas RU, which is kind of the Eastern European version of the game a lot of people have to use, those two coming together have about 3,300 active players over like the past day. Compare that to Fallout 3 and you get about 400. That is a very big difference from two games that are actually fairly similar in their engine, and I think that's extremely reflective of the type of games each of them are. Fallout 3 felt like to me more of a proof of concept. It created this amazing open world with tons of cool systems and took the Fallout franchise to the first and third person. But Fallout New Vegas took that same idea and concept and improved on it almost to perfection. I feel like the same thing kind of happened with Fallout 4. Fallout 4 is an awesome game, an awesome proof of concept showing how many awesome features can be brought into this engine to make the game so much more enjoyable. But as far as the story goes, it's just not there. Fallout New Vegas has a way better story and way better experiences than Fallout 4. And that's probably why, at least on PC, Skyrim has more active players than Fallout 4, despite Fallout 4 being way newer, having way more mods being released on a regular basis, Fallout 4 having about 16,000 active players, while Skyrim and Skyrim Special Edition combined had about 25,000 active players. Again, this is all PC numbers. I'm sure there's a lot of Fallout 4 players on consoles because of the mods. Same thing goes for Skyrim Special Edition, but really the point I wanted to make with this video is, and the realization I've kind of come to is, I can't see myself going back to Fallout 4 if a new good game comes out. If Bethesda Game Studios announces a new Starfield at this E3, and that game actually is a step forward. It brings some of these awesome features brought to the table with Fallout 4, but also an awesome story like we saw in New Vegas or even Skyrim. I don't think I'm going to really have a huge desire to go back to Fallout 4 and re-experience the story or experience those new mods. Invariably, modding will take a step forward with the next game, and some of the mods we have for Fallout 4 will feel outdated, just like some of the mods we have for New Vegas feel outdated by Fallout 4 standards. The reason myself and so many others keep going back to New Vegas is because of that incredible story. Imagine they released a Fallout New Vegas VR, I would be all over that, because although Fallout New Vegas has its faults, it really is more of a platform to get immersed into this world. This isn't me calling Fallout 4 a bad game, it's just not the type of game that I could see myself going back to a few years from now. I think it's just going to feel outdated by whatever standards Bethesda creates with their next game and subsequent ones. It doesn't have that appeal, that drawing factor that New Vegas or Skyrim have. I'm sure some of us will replay it down the line, maybe for a nostalgia effect, but right now at least it seems like a huge portion of Fallout 4's player base is kept there due to the mods that are getting released and some of these amazing creations by community members, and as soon as that's gone, I don't think people are going to stay. I imagine the second we get a Starfield release or even a beta or demo or something like that, there's going to be a massive drop off in Fallout 4's player base that's not going to go back up ever. And to me at least, that feels really weird. I mean, Fallout New Vegas again did have a massive drop off, but then it worked its way back up when people people were largely disappointed with Fallout 4. Even personally, I kind of had this thought like, alright, so this summer I should realistically try and get out whatever Fallout 4 videos I plan to. Like, there are some videos I've had in the back of my head but never actually made because I was like, oh, I'd have time, but no, I probably don't. I have these next 4 months or so to actually make those videos, and once that time passes, everyone's going to shift their focus onto this new game, assuming it does get released, and I'm probably not going to go back to Fallout 4. Maybe I'll make a mods weekly every once in a while, or cover some of those large overhaul mods if they continue production, but as far as day-to-day modding and day-to-day story or lore elements, I'll probably move on to whatever the next game is. Again, I don't really know what the point of this video was. It was meant to be way more informal. I just kind of wanted to share these thoughts I was having with all of you on this platform. I can see how this may be more impactful for me. I spent so much time in and around Fallout 4. I really have been like immersed in this game and in the environment created around it through modding, community. But now I'm kind of coming to the realization that that's largely coming to the end, and going forward, things are going to be very different. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video, and since it was super informal, I'm actually going to do something really random for the outro here. This past weekend, I saw, as with many others, Avengers Infinity War, and I'm going to give like a mini review of it. It's not really comprehensive. I didn't like take notes or anything like that, but I figured it'd be kind of fun since it is such a large-scale movie just to share my thoughts about it. I don't really know anyone else that saw it except the person I went with, but either way, my thoughts on Avengers Infinity War, it is similar to Fallout 4 actually. It's not a movie so much, or at least I didn't feel like Avengers Infinity War was a movie. It almost felt like you were on a ride, you know, like those interactive rides that they have at theme parks and things like that. It really has a great parallel to Fallout 4. There is a ton of cool and exciting things happening in Avengers Infinity War. Crazy stuff that you're like, wow, and you laugh and you just think things are crazy that are happening on screen, but at the same time, there's no real story. I mean, there's obviously things connecting these, but it's not so much about the story actually made in this movie. If you looked at this movie from a story perspective, like you kind of evaluate or review other movies, it's going to be a pretty bad one. It also was, at least in my eyes, a movie that if you haven't seen a lot of the other Marvel films, you'll get less out of it. It's not to say that you have to have seen those to watch this movie, it's just I think your enjoyment level goes up the more you're immersed in the Marvel universe. That coming from someone who has seen a lot of the Marvel films, but not all of them. I never actually saw Doctor Strange, so seeing some of the parts about Doctor Strange in this movie felt a little weird because I didn't really know what was happening. And then just one last thing, it doesn't feel like an Avengers movie. What this movie really feels like is like Thanos the movie. I think that would be a much more accurate title than the Avengers because the main character of this movie is Thanos, not so much the Avengers. I don't know, that was pretty random, but I figured I'd share my thoughts with the movie with all of you. As always, I thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, again, this very informal video, and hopefully I'll see you guys all next time. Later.